Yeah.
Let me know when you guys ready. Good. All right, Coach. Whenever you're ready, sir.
It's a pretty good football game there, huh? No doubt. Look, before we get going here, I think I just want to thank our fans for coming out. I think that was the 10th largest crowd in the history of the school. And we said in the very beginning it was going to take a team effort to get this done, to build, to create momentum, right? Positive energy on the outside. Um, and they made a difference tonight. There's no question that they impacted the game. And, University of Florida is a special place, and these people come back because of the way it impacted them, the memories that they had here, how it's influenced their lives. And some of those memories are, football games in the swamp. So we're very thankful for our fans showing up, and they contributed to our team. So what questions we got here?
We'll start with Nick.
Coach, you kind of tried to temper expectations of Anthony Richardson. Do you think that's going to be a little harder after the game you just had?
One thing I can tell you about Anthony, he's sitting in that locker room right now. He's thinking about probably the 6 or 8 plays where he could have done a little bit better. That's what I love about him. He's very critical of himself. He's an unbelievable competitor. We all know the kid's got physical talent. We've known that for a long time. But what's impressed me is his work ethic, his discipline, his detail. He's a good teammate. He's a great example, right? He's selfless. This kid's had the spotlight on him for a long time. And I don't, you may worry that would affect him, right? But I think it's made him a better person, right? I think being from Gainesville, I think he realizes the platform and the opportunity that, and the example that he can set in the building and then also within our community. So Anthony's going to stay humble, and the guy's, that's his first start in the swamp, right? So, he's going to continue to improve, and I'm certainly thankful we got him.
And you already mentioned the crowd, but you were kind of looking forward to this. I think December 1st, you mentioned it.
Right.
What was it like hearing them and running out of tunnels tonight?
Yeah, I think I told one of our guys during the game, I said, can you believe they pay us to do this? It's it's a game of football, right? And I think that sometimes we get caught up with the event, we get caught up in the event. But what's rewarding is when you know what went into the event, right? The preparation for the event. You go all the way back to January. It's the unique thing about the game of football. You countless hours, okay, on the books, off the books, okay, not just players but staff members. And then we get to go out here in front of a lot of people and put the work on show. And it's rewarding to see players, and when the individual players and you're observing them, the growth you've seen, the work that you've seen from them, and they're having success and they're in the fight. There's a lot to this game that's rewarding. But I think we're thankful for the work and the trust of this group of players.
Billy, Andrea Adelson, ESPN. I believe you guys were home underdogs. This game's coming down to the wire. What kind of statement do you feel like the team made tonight with the way they were able to win?
Well, this group's got fight in it, and I think I've said that publicly. That's one thing about our team that I respect is they compete. I've got to slow them down sometimes, right, in the practice environment. And I can remember a good friend of mine when we took the job who had worked here before, he said, these kids at Florida are the most competitive kids I've ever been around, right? So, and I would agree with him. They've got a little bit different edge about them. The execution wasn't always what we wanted out there. We got so much work to do. That's what I think about. We were fortunate to overcome, many mistakes tonight, right? But the intangibles that the team showed, they continue to respond and then to rise up there at the end and make a play. So, we've got work to do. We won a game, and it's a special moment. We're going to enjoy it, and then we're going to turn the page tomorrow and get ready for SEC play.
Matt Baker.
Hey, Billy. Congratulations.
I just told him to play. Yeah. You know, I mean, yeah, nothing more complicated than that.
Speaking of fight, what did Amari Burney show with that by sticking with it like that? I mean, he had a pretty tough night against those tight ends. Those guys were running and got a lot of guys in circles, but he got kind of caught up in that a little.
No, I mean, Amari Burney is one of my favorite players on the team. You know, I mean, this guy's played. I think it's his 6th year. You know, he's played like 1,600 snaps here, right? I call him old man all the time, right? So, Amari, we're thankful for Amari. He's got character. He's a great communicator. He makes other players around him better. He's a guy who really has risen to the occasion, you know, I mean, in terms of that position and what we needed from that position. So to see him, that's one of the things that I was describing earlier, right? To see that guy make the play, right? I think that's a special moment for that locker room because they love Amari Burney, right? I mean, for that guy to make the play, I think was pretty special.
Especially given like the night, I mean, Keith or
Right. Yeah, no, you know, I probably missed a step here, but hats off to Utah, man. I mean, I told Coach Whittingham, I said, I know we got to play you next year, but at some point here, when we get done competing against each other, I want to come see you. You know, I've kept up their team for a long time. They play a great brand of football. They play complementary football. They're physical. They get a lot out of what they have. You know, I've got so much respect for them. So we knew those tight ends would be a matchup issue, and they certainly were.
Zach Alberti.
Coach, how did you feel about Montreal's first performance as a Gator and bouncing back from that fumble to get that touchdown?
Yeah, Montreal is, you know, Montreal's a good kid. He's a smart kid. He's got character. He's very much a worker. You know, I mean, he's a very disciplined kid, and he's very productive for us at Louisiana. We certainly knew that he was. We shouldn't have had him at Louisiana, truth be known, right? But you know, I can remember the second scrimmage in training camp at Louisiana. He's a true freshman. He wore number 25 then. I wrote on my sheet 25 is a guy, right? And you know, he's 215 pounds. He's got great patience and vision. I remember watching his high school tape and evaluation. I said, Le'Veon Bell, a little bit of that slow, patient, and hits it. There was some of that tonight. So I'm thankful for him as a player, but more importantly, the kind of kid he is. He's a great kid.
And then how much do you pride yourself as a head coach, for you and your staff and your teams, being able to win one-score games? And how big is that for this team to get this one?
I feel like we played in a few. I would say that. I don't know how many we've played in, but it's been a lot.
17-3.
Right. So I knew you would know that. Yeah.
All right, Jacob Bruno. How does Anthony Richardson's ability to run and to take off and maybe make the unannounced play impact your offense?
Man, I mean, heck. My wife can call plays with that guy at quarterback. I mean, tonight there is, you know, I'm going to say at least 4 plays right off the top of my head where, you know, we've got a concept called and he works his way through it and then, you know, he just becomes that guy, right? So his legs are, you know, they're a difference maker. You saw it tonight, right? I mean, the 4th down play in the last drive, I mean, there was multiple. The 2-point conversion, I mean, come on. Let me tell you something. He did that exact same thing in practice one day. I'm talking about the exact scenario, okay? So I think we're figuring out here that this guy's a pretty special player.
Alan Taylor.
It comes down to Utah, 2 possessions inside the 5 that they didn't get points at in the second half. Can you kind of walk me through what that 4th and goal was like with Ventrell getting that helmet in there and making the stop?
Man, Ventrell Miller, I can't imagine, You talk about a guy you want to go to battle with, that's the guy you want to go to war with there. He's, let me say this, that's the difference in the game, right? It's red zone touchdowns, right? We scored touchdowns in the red zone. They did. You know, we forced them, I think, 2 field goals. Am I right? They kicked 2 field goals. They had 2 times that he got no points from a red area trip. We got touchdowns, I think, every single time, right? And that's the difference in the game. The interception and the fumble early, they scratch each other. And here we go. So, you know, turnovers, explosive plays, red area touchdowns. Ultimately tonight was all about 4-point plays in the red zone, right? And hats off to PT for getting stops, getting our players in position, the players executing, and then certainly Anthony was a difference maker in the red area tonight.
And the ability to trust your freshman, Trevor. Devin's in on the final drive at corner, and I think Shamar actually got a start based on the alignment of the defense. Can you kind of discuss, you know, when you knew you could trust those guys?
No, I mean, I think anybody in our building would tell you those guys are really good players. You know, the cool thing is they're mature and they're smart enough to handle it, right? I mean, you talk about Devin Moore, Etienne, Shamar James, I can't imagine. Those guys have the maturity and the intelligence plus the talent, right? I mean, they're future leaders of the program, right? Those 3 guys. They're going to be phenomenal. They're going to contribute to our team in a lot of different ways.
One last question here, France.
Billy, take us through that last drive, the scoring drive. Your ability to keep the clock going, move the ball, move the chains on the ground without having to throw the ball and maybe risk stopping the clock.
Well, yeah, I wish we'd have scored a little later, you know, truth be known. But, you know, we just felt like, okay, hey, let's see if we can, you know, felt like we were denting them pretty good, and we felt like we could move it. But, yeah, there was a little bit of that, hey, let's don't score too quick, you know. And certainly you're in 4 downs. Once it got under 5 minutes, it's go for it. You know, I think 10 was a go. So, I mean, you got 4 downs the entire time. So you're throwing completions, can't afford a negative play, right? And you got to run sound runs, right? So we did that, knowing that we're going to go for it on 4th down the entire time. So, you know, that was part of it. We probably scored. We scored, and, you know, I remember telling the defensive players coming off the field, about 6.5 minutes left, we're going to go score. Get ready to stop them. And we're fortunate that they did stop them.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Thanks, guys. We'll have Anthony here in a second.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Let me know, cameras. You guys are good? All right, guys. We're joined by quarterback Anthony Richardson. We'll first start with Nick DeRotori.
Take me to that 2-point conversion. Nape said that you did something like that in practice. I don't know what you call that, but you kind of just made 2 guys miss and found the end zone.
Yeah, I did that in practice a few weeks ago. That was my first time ever doing it. Just trying to make something happen. And I guess it worked, so I'm glad it worked.
Your first start in the swamp, what was it like coming out of the tunnel, and how quickly did you kind of settle in?
It was different for sure. You know, first few drives, I messed up on a couple of plays, forgot some motions. You know, I was a little jittery. You know, just being out there. It was definitely fun though. First start here in the swamp, second career start. So I was definitely, you know, in my head a little bit, but the game was fun. Shout out to Utah. Shout out to my teammates. But yeah, I was definitely a little jittery.
The long touchdown run looked like their safety had the ankle on you, and you just kind of blew past it. Talk about that, please.
We work stuff like that in practice all the time. The QBs don't necessarily do the drill, but I definitely watch when the receivers are doing sideline tackle. So I just, you know, just square them up, try to make a move, and score the touchdown.
Go to Alan Taylor.
That 5-minute drive at the end, man, I think you guys converted 3 third downs, and one of them was 3rd and 15 on the crossing route to Pearsall. Man, did you kind of have the feeling that it had to happen then because of the way Utah was milking the clock on their drives?
I didn't necessarily feel like it had to happen. You know, I just try to play one play at a time. Try not to think too much ahead. You know, because we rep 2-minute stuff like that. So in my mind, it's just 2-minute, no turnovers, no sacks, anything like that to set us back. You know, so I just took it one play at a time. And my teammates were there; they were open, and I just trying to make a play.
How about picking up Montrell after the first fumble? He got back in and obviously made some big runs and had a touchdown as well.
You know, he owes us. You know, we're gonna roll him and Trevor. You know, they got to get some punishment for the ball security. We preach that. You know, but shout out to those guys for keeping it pushing. You know, Trevor's first game, first career college game, Montrell's first game in the swamp. You know, so I kind of feel for those guys, but I'm glad they kept it going, kept their head straight.
Go ahead, Edgar Thompson.
What's it like, just having the ball in your hands with the game on the line? What's that like for you?
Well, it was different. Coach Nate, he told me, like, we're going to try to score it right here, you know, game winner. And my heart kind of froze because I haven't really heard those words before, especially in a situation like that with a crowd as big as that. You know, so I was thinking a lot, but just having the ball in my hand, you know, I feel like the teams trust me, the coaches trust me to make a play, make something happen, try not to make things worse. So I'm glad they trust me for that.
I mean, that's surprising because you look calm from our worst at least. So how do you process that and just stay in the moment?
You know, when he told me, I was like, whoa, game winner, 4th and 2. Then they told me just play it, regular play, one play at a time. Nothing was there. I used my legs, and we got the first down and kept the game going.
Jacob Rudin. How do you feel like your ability to run the ball impacts a defense? Like, what does it do when you're able to have that threat?
I feel like it opens our offense up, you know, especially for our running backs and our O-line. It makes it easier for them because it's maybe like 1 or 2 less guys for them to block if I'm like running the ball or just pulling somebody away after I hand it off. You know, stuff like that. It definitely opens up our offense.
Did you feel the impact of that on like play actions tonight when you were able to kind of draw their linebackers off because they have to deal with you and the running backs? You guys could kind of create some confusion for them.
Yeah, definitely. That was part of the game plan. You know, we rep it in practice almost every day. You know, play action, naked, stuff like that. So when it was there, it was there. When it wasn't, it wasn't. But, you know, we made some things work.
Andrew?
I think a lot of people outside this building weren't sure what to expect out of you guys with Coach Napier coming in. How big of a win do you feel like this is for the program and what kind of statement do you think it made?
It's definitely a big win for us. You know, a lot of guys' first game in the swamp. Coach Nape's first game in the swamp. We just knocked off a top-ranked team. You know, so it's a lot of good energy in the locker room right now. And I feel like it boosted some guys' confidence. You know, a lot of people were doubting us, and that's just how the world works. Some people love you, some people don't. So we just fought through it and won the game.
Can you sort of describe what your role was until you called on tonight and how you feel that role will be throughout the season?
They definitely asked me how I felt about certain plays. When we're game planning, they always ask which plays I like, which plays I don't like. So I feel like I do have a say-so, but it's not really up to me to call the plays. It's Coach Nate. I just have to execute and make sure I do my job and hold my teammates accountable.
Matt Baker?
Hey, Anthony. What were you kind of thinking coming out of that timeout, facing 2nd and goal from the one where you just before you scored the touchdown?
Well, I was just thinking score. All we needed was 1 yard. We were driving the ball, running the ball pretty well, so there wasn't really any pressure. You know, I was just counting on my O-line because those guys, they've been grinding the whole year. So I knew they were going to make a play, and it just so happened the end came off, and I pulled the ball.
Anthony Luke Kettrick, Spectrum Sports. We know about your big playability. That's been well documented. But for you in a game like this, to do the little things, to hit on the details that Coach Napier always preaches, and to do those at a high level, how much pride do you take in that?
Definitely a lot. You know, past years, before playing football, I always thought I had to be the superhero, you know, make the big play all the time. I see that that's not really how the game works. You know, I just got to do my job every play, even if that's just me handing the ball off and bursting away. You know, I had a lot of mental errors today, you know, forgetting motions, not bursting away. So I know Coach Nate's going to grill me about, you know, loafing half the time. But, you know, know, I just tried to play through it, take it one play at a time, and just manage the game.
We'll go to the back here. Yes.
So you talked previously about the impact of the strong running back room on you as a quarterback. Do you think that strengthened after tonight? What are those guys bringing to you?
I feel like it definitely helped us. You know, those guys knew they were going to come out here and run the ball. Shout out to Naquan, Montreal, Trevor. Those guys, they put their foot down, put their head down, and kept it going. I was surprised with Trevor. You know, he was punching the ball down the field. But those guys made it easier for me, you know, especially on the play actions and letting me get open just to throw over routes and stuff. So I'm glad those guys were able to run the ball.
Brianna in the back here.
You talked about in your press conference the other day about hearing the fans roar once you step through the end zone. Can you just walk me through your mindset and the anticipation to hearing that?
I don't know. Before the game, I walked out there and I just looked up. I just seen a lot of people, you know. And when we scored, I don't even know what happened. I just felt the ground shaking. My teammates were screaming in my ear. You know, I was in the moment. You know, so shout out to Gator Nation for coming to the Swamp and hyping us up. It was definitely a dream come true.
Last question, Zach and all.
We talked about Ricky missing some time during camp the other day. He's played the game with you, but yet he exits this game as your leading receiver. How important do you think he can be to this offense and into your game as a passer, especially?
No, he definitely makes it easy for me. You know, he knows how to get open. He knows how to run a good route. I'm glad he knows how to catch the ball. But, you know, the way he does things is going to get other guys open. So I'm glad Ricky was able to play pretty well today. You know, so I'm looking forward to more games with him.